Hello, Buddhas. Let's take a moment to talk a little bit about darkness. Now, Buddhas, before we get started, I've got a playlist down below with about 150 Buddha Billionaire videos in it now that you can binge watch from start to finish in order to accelerate your spiritual progress. Now, Buddhas, this video is inspired by a video that was just put out on Light Resonance's Patreon. Bridget, thank you very much, because this is something that's really near and dear to my heart, and you described it so perfectly that I was inspired to talk about it as well. And that is the darkness and the light. We're always talking about how the light is so good and embrace the light and blah blah blah, but we forget that this is a duality. You can't have light without dark, and you can't have dark without light. They both need each other to exist. From a purely physics standpoint, if we objectively look at the matter of this universe, this world that we're in right now, forget about the spiritual aspect of it for a minute. Your human form, your body, what you're seeing right now of me through your screen is light being shot at you. But the reason that you can see that light is because my physical body, my matter, this darkness that I am, is reflecting light. And that's being picked up by the camera sensor. The same way that my vocal cords are creating sound waves that permeate through the air and then are picked up by the microphone that's attached to my camera. This process is extremely important in order for this to happen. If my body didn't reflect light, then you wouldn't be able to see me right now. That's just how it is. We wouldn't have sight, period. We would be amoebas hanging out in the primordial goo. And that is a totally valid existence, but it's not the one that we're having right now. At least I don't think it is. Let me know down below if that's a possibility. But we are the darkness that is reflecting the light. And the reason that I feel so strong about this is, again, if you objectively were to look at an object in the world, let's say a human body again, because I like to think that we're the coolest objects out there, we don't have a lot of light physically inside of us. Now, yeah, you might have light inside of you, and there's that spark of the creator and all this stuff, but I mean, like, objectively, if you go to medical school, or if you're in a profession where you're dealing with surgery and different stuff, and you were to open up a body to fix something inside of it, light's not going to be pouring out. It's quite dark in there. We have to illuminate it to actually see what we're doing. Or if you get a cut on your hand or something, then the blood comes out. The blood's not glowing and bright, it's dark. If you cut yourself in the dark and you look at it, you're not going to see anything. The light doesn't just shine right out of it in this reality. Now, again, there's a light aspect to it, but we are the matter, the material, hard surface that's reflecting the light at anything, like a camera sensor, or anyone, like eyeballs, that are willing to see it. And the reason that this is so important, and I feel so passionate about it, is that, again, we are constantly going on about all the importance of light. And yes, incredibly important. We've come out of, and we are leaving, a very dark age of human history. But we have to remember that everything we have here is fundamentally based off of matter and physicality, and we're here on purpose, so we have to learn to be okay with and to embrace and to love the darkness. Because the darkness is what makes up our human forms. And if that's as esoteric as you want to take it, then that's totally fine. Thank you for watching. But if you want to take it to another level, it's actually starting to understand and embrace and realize that we are the embodiment of that darkness that is striving to become that light. And that we are constantly striving and iterating and working on ourselves to accept and understand and embrace that darkness within us. And a really big part of that is detaching the negativity and the faux pas and the societal programming and conditioning that goes along with this darkness. Again, it all ties into this one big social memory scheme. It's not about one person trying to control anyone, but there's a general air and attitude that darkness is bad. Go into the light. All this stuff. And you have to have these really male chauvinistic qualities of positivity and light versus the feminine quality, and I don't mean this in any kind of putting down sort of way, but the feminine qualities of darkness and negativity, which negativity in of itself is not a bad thing. And I'm quoting bad not because I feel like I need to justify it, but just because there's so much about avoiding the dark in our society that I think it's about time that we start to accept and embrace it a little bit. And part of my journey and part of me doing that has been really going in that meditative silence, in that space of no light. I cover my eyes intentionally. I go into a very dark place, a dark room. I try to make it as dark and almost womb-like as possible so that I completely disassociate from this beautiful reality, but still a distraction of a reality. And when you go into that internal darkness, and you can love it, and you can embrace it, and you can understand that, wait a minute, there's nothing wrong with this, this is totally normal, and I love and appreciate it, that's when things really start to click, Buddhas, and that's when stuff can really, really change and become incredible. So let me know down below what your thoughts are on the darkness and the light, and if you've got a take on that, I'd really like to appreciate it. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them in some future videos. So, Buddhas, remember, after hitting the subscribe button, like button, and commenting, the most important thing is to love yourself.